Cats and TV.
Hey everybody, it's your guest reviewer JP here for Catsynth TV. Today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of recent works by the illustrator and writer Jim Woodring. Before we get started, I want to ask you to please subscribe to the channel and please consider underwriting the efforts here. There are links to Patreon and Ko-Fi in the information below. Okay, Jim Woodring. Jim Woodring, a favorite illustrator of mine, most famous probably for his work Frank. Frank is an anthropomorphic animal of some undefined sort that we've seen Jim do illustrations and stories of for the past, let's say, my goodness, going on 30, maybe even 35 years. At least since the 90s is when I first became aware of Jim Woodring. Jim Woodring, of course, also famous for his numerous illustrations for album covers for Bill Frisell. We'll see a couple of these here. A very distinctive style. Some of you may be more familiar with him through those illustrations. The books that we're going to be taking a look at today are a recent book called Fran. And we're also going to be taking a look at another recent book of his called, and this is a strange title, I know. And now, sir, is this your missing gonad? Bizarre, I know, but it'll make sense once we delve a little bit into it. The first book we're going to take a look at, Fran, continues the story of Frank, our primary protagonist throughout the Frank saga, of course. Fran is Frank's romantic partner, possibly of some sort, partner at least of some sort, whom was introduced in a book called The Congress of the Animals. This book, Fran, functions as a sort of companion to that other book. Let me just put it all on the table here and tell you I have not read The Congress of the Animals. However, I am a big fan of the Frank stories, and as it says in the notes there on the book, this book, Fran, can be read as a standalone book, or it can be read as a complementary book, or even a prequel of sorts to that other book. So we went into it with that kind of approach, and I'm telling you, this is amazing stuff. As always, Jim Woodring never fails to astonish. Now, let me just say that the majority of the Frank stories are told without any word balloons. They're told in a completely silent, almost pantomime, I guess, manner. And yet, you don't lose any of the story. Jim Woodring's abilities as an illustrator, as a storyteller, are so incredible that he communicates emotions, he communicates big ideas, he raises questions, he gives answers without the use of any dialogue. And this story, Fran, continues on in that manner. The illustrations are very distinctive. Once you get familiar with Woodring's style, my goodness, there's nothing quite like it. I mean, sometimes it seems to me a little bit reminiscent of woodblock kind of carvings, the heavy use of the black line, the black outline. It's a very distinctive style. It's very cartoony, and yet it manages to convey a lot of really big ideas. So amazing stuff, as always. The other book that we're looking at, and now, sir, is This Your Missing Gonad, is a little bit different in the sense that it, rather than a continuous story, this is one panel gags, if you will. Although I wouldn't call them quite gags. It seems to me that, what would I compare it to? I would compare it to almost some of the illustrations in this and the dialogue or the caption beneath almost being like a Zen koan or something like this. Something that, you know, what is the relationship of these words to this picture? And there seems to be, sometimes there is a direct relationship between the words and the illustration. Sometimes it's more like, what is he trying to say here? One of these things that proposes questions and gets you thinking about, what could this mean? And it kind of opens things up. The other thing I would compare it to is, of course, Indeterminacy, the famous John Cage, David Tudor piece where John Cage would read these 1 minute kind of pithy scenes, and you're with electronic music, and you left to say, what does this mean? What does this mean? What is the meaning of this? Same kind of thing here. It's just, bam, little bits, little explosions in your consciousness, opening things up, causing things to bloom. Amazing stuff. As always, Jim Woodring. So please check these out. Highest recommendations for me. The quality of illustration is just off the charts. As always, Fantagraphic does an amazing job with the printing of these books. It's on the highest quality paper, highest quality printing. It's something really that you can look at again and again, and I highly recommend it. So once again, wrapping things up, 2 recent works by the illustrator Jim Woodring.
To find out more about the work of Jim Woodring, including these recent books, please check out his website, fantagraphics.com, or the description below this video. Thanks for watching. Check out more at www.catsynth.com, and please subscribe to CatSynth TV.
You're watching CatSynth TV. Thanks a lot.